or I kill them. I suppose they are 3 of the Duke's 6 men. Yes, you must leave here before they arrive. So listen carefully. The plan is, قول له بقى الخطة بقى. The plan is to kill you, هتتقتل, and to take your body into the old town. It will be found, and Michael will arrest Colonel Saft and Captain Fritz von Trondheim for murdering you. Then a messenger will be sent to Zenda, and the real king will be murdered too. The Duke will then become king. Do you understand? This is this is the plan. Oh yes, I understand. It's a clever plan. But why are you helping me? انت بتساعديني ليه يعني? I don't like to see people being killed. This is the reason. ده السبب يعني. I don't like to see people being killed. Now go. But remember, you are never safe in this city. You have God is following you, don't you? Well, Michael's men are following them. If you are alone, then you will die. Now go quietly this way past the summer house for about 100 meters. There you will find a ladder. مجهز له كده ladder, سلم يعني, against the wall. Climb it and run as fast as you can. And what will you do? I also have a game to play. I'll tell the Duke's men that you never came. أنا هقول Duke Michael أنت ما جيتش يعني. If the Duke doesn't find out what I have done, we may meet again. Thank you. You have helped me. You have helped the king tonight, I said. But before I go, tell me something. Do you know where he is in the castle? ده عايد على مين؟ The king. تعرف هو فين في القلعة؟ Do you know where he is in the castle? Yes, I do. Yes, I do know. Inside the castle there is a door on the right. And behind that في بقى هنا يعني مسافة كده معناها في interruption كأن في ناس وصلت يعني. But listen, they are here. هم جم كده. It's too late for you to escape. يعني فات الميعاد ان انت تهرب, مش هتقدر تهرب دلوقتي. I looked through a gap in the summer house and saw 3 men standing outside. Then I heard a voice which spoke in English. Are you in here, Mr. Rossendal? انت جوا يا Mr. Rossendal? I didn't answer. في الأول ما أجبوش يعني. We want to make you an offer. جايبين لك offer عرض يعني. The voice said, will you let us in? Don't trust them, said Antoinette quietly. لا تثق بهم يعني. Stand outside and talk, I called. I want to let you in. That's a good idea, said the voice, who I thought must be Richard. Is that Mr. Richard? I asked. انت Richard? Our names are not important. We can offer you a safe journey to the border and 50,000 English pounds. This is the offer. ده بقى العرض بقى. A safe journey and 50 1,000 English pounds. That sounds a generous offer, I said, but of course I didn't trust them at all. Give me a minute to think. Then I told Antoinette and her servants to stand close to the wall away from the door. What are you going to do? You will see. لأن رأي الوقت كده يعني كأن احنا بنسميه كده هوليود اكشنز, كأن يعني أحداث سينمائية شوية. يعني هيستخدم التيبل كده كأنها شيلد, درع يعني هتحميه, الايرن تيبل. You will see. I picked up the iron table and held it by the legs so it was in front of me. Then I said, gentlemen, I'd like to accept your kind offer. Perhaps you can open the door for me. Why don't you open the door yourself, said Richard. Very well, but it opens outwards. يعني الباب كده يفتح لبره. I explained, you will need to step back or the door will hit you. I pretended to try and open the door and called out, and I can't open it. Then I'll open it, called Richard. If you look at the picture here, لو بصينا في الصورة كده, the 3 men, طبعا التلاتة هنا, and Antoinette de Mauban, and this is Rodolphe Rossendal carrying the iron table, ماسك كده iron table from the legs, من الرجلين, as a shield, كأنها shield or armor, كأنها درع يعني. As Richard was walking up to the door, I moved quietly to the back of the summer house. It took him a few seconds to open the door, but as soon as I did, I ran him as fast as I could. I ran at him as fast as I could, holding the table in front of me. There was a terrible noise as the 3 men fired their guns at once, but I was protected by the tabletop. The men were all standing on the steps up to the summer house, so as I ran out. The tabletop hit them and they all fell down the steps. Before I knew what was happening, I too I too was falling down the steps, but as I was on the top of the men, I managed to get up fast and run away, firing my gun behind me. يعني كان بيجري كده وبيضرب كده بالمسدس كده من ورا ظهره يعني. There were angry shouts and more shouts and more shots. I remembered what Antoinette had said about a ladder and soon found it and climbed over the wall in seconds. Running along the outside of the wall, I heard some shots but realized they were being fired by Sabt. اللي كان بيضرب هنا سبت يعني, who was trying to get into the gate. Sabt, it's me. Let's go, I shouted. You are safe, he cried in surprise. I have a fine story to tell you about a table. هقول لك كده يعني عن قصة مضحكة كده عن الترابيزة يعني استخدمها ازاي. I told him as we jumped our horses and rode quickly to the palace. Let's have some questions. What did Rasindal ask Sab to do when he wanted to meet Antoinette de Mauban? طلب منه Rasindal asked him to wait, ينتظر يعني, outside the gate and he would go alone. How was the room Rasindal entered in the summer house? وصف لنا الحجرة يعني. The room was lit by a small candle. It was almost empty except for a small iron table and two chairs. Antoinette was in front of him and her servant was behind. طبعا بقرا الاسئله بسرعه, انت ممكن تعمل بقى بوز توقف كده للفيديو وتقراها يعني براحتك يعني. How far was Antoinette de Mauban a reliable person? الى اي مدى كانت شخص او شخصيه موثوق فيها. She told Rasindal that she knew that he was Mr. Rasindal, not the king. She told him that she wrote the letter at the Duke's order. كتبته بناء على اوامر الملك, اوامر ديوك مايكل سوري. She warned him that in 20 minutes they would come to kill him. According to Antoinette, what was Michael's wicked plan? ايه الخطة بقى الشريرة to be the king؟ الخطة دي بنقسمها كده أجزاء عشان تبقى سهلة يعني. طبعا ما فهمناش الأسئلة دي مش هنعرف نحل الأسئلة اللي هي choice أو الكريتيكال. The plan was to kill Rasindal, يقتل راسندل الأول, and to take his body into the old town to be found. Number B, Michael would arrest Sabt and Fritz for murdering Rasindal. هو يعني هيقبض على سابت وفريدز كأنهم هم اللي قتلوا راسندل يعني. 3, a messenger, أحد الرسل, would be sent to Zenda and the real king would be murdered too. هيقتلوا بقى الريال كينج. Why did Antoinette help Rasindal? طب هي كانت بتساعده ليه؟ As she didn't like to see people being killed. She was a kind woman who didn't like evil. سيدة ما تحبش الشر يعني. How did Antoinette try to save Rasindal's life? ازاي بتحاول تنقذ حياته؟ She told him that he would never be safe in the city if he was alone. Michael's men would kill him. She told him to climb the ladder and ran as fast as he could. Why would Antoinette tell the Duke's men if they didn't find Rasindal? هتقول لهم ايه؟ She would tell them that Rasindal didn't come to the house. What did Antoinette tell Rasindal about the real king's palace? She told him that there was a door on the right and behind that طبعا ما كملتش because the people came. Why couldn't Antoinette complete telling Rasindal about the king's palace أو بليس؟ ازاي ما قدرتش انها تكملوا عن مكان الملك يعني مكان الاحتجاز. As the three foreigners of the six famous arrived and interrupted her. When did Antoinette ask Rasindal not to trust the three famous? لا يثق فيهم يعني. When they told Rasindal that they wanted to make him an offer, لما قدموا له عرض يعني, and to let them in. What was the offer which Richard talked about? ايه العرض ده؟ طبعا احنا قرأنا التكست الأصلي وبعدين بنحاول نركز برضو في الأسئلة عشان زي مراجعة. They could offer Rasindal a safe journey, ده العرض بقى, رحلة آمنة to the border للحدود, and 50,000 English pounds. What did Rosendal say about their offer؟ قال ايه بقى على العرض ده؟ He said that their offer was generous، عرض كده كريم أو سخي، but in fact he didn't trust them، لم يثق فيهم. Rosendal was so clever that he could escape from the three foreigners. كان ماهر جدا بارع ان قدر ان هو يهرب. طبعا اتكلم بقى على الايرن تيبل، ازاي استخدم الايرن تيبل. He asked Ditchard to open the door, and while Ditchard was doing that, Rosendal ran at him as fast as he could, holding the iron table in front of him to protect him. Rosendal owed his life، يعني مدين لحياته. Rosendal مدين بحياته to the iron table. Discuss. The three men fired at Rosendal, but he was protected by the top of the iron table. Rosendal was intelligent. Rosendal was intelligent to use the iron table as a weapon. نفس الفكرة برضه. He used it to defend himself against their guns. He also hit them with it, so all the three men fell down the steps. Rosendal ran away, firing his gun behind him. How did Rosendal escape from the place? He climbed the ladder, which Antonin told him about, and in seconds he climbed over the wall. He found Sabt, who was trying to get into the gate, firing his gun. Why was Sabt surprised that Rosendal was safe? اندهش ليه؟ As the three men were too dangerous, but Rosendal told him about the iron table. Let's complete the rest of the chapter. بس طويل شوية. The next day Sabt read the latest report from the chief of police. Some interesting things have been happening. يعني بقول في أشياء كده مذهلة حدثت يعني this morning. The police reports that تقرير الشرطة بيقول إيه؟ The Duke of the Streltsau left the capital by the road to Zenda. An hour later he was followed by Degauted, Berzen and Ditchard. يعني الستة كده راحوا زندا. Who had a bandage around his arm. Ditchard اللي عنده كده bandage يعني في ضمادة كده قطن وشاش كده على ايده. طبعا من ايه؟ From the fight in the summer house. I was pleased that my shot the night before had been a good one. Finally, listen to this. The people of the capital are not happy. الناس كده مش فرحانة. That the king has yet to marry the prince. Some people say that if they don't marry soon, it would be better if the princess married the Duke of Streltsau. However, the king is having a ball tonight for the princess. يعني احنا عاملين لك النهارده حفلة. I don't know anything about a ball, I said. Oh, it has all been prepared, said Fritz by me. يعني فريتز هو اللي جهز الحفلة دي. Listen, said Sab. You must ask the princess to marry you tonight. لازم تطلب منها الزواج هذه الليلة. I can't do that. I said it wouldn't be fair to the prince. يعني مش هيكون الامر بالنسبه لها عادل. طبعا بيبين لنا كده ان رودولف رسندل was a man of principles، كان رجل ايه مبادئ. That evening the ball was a great success. الحفل بقى كان ناجح. After we had eaten I sat with the princess and some of my other guests in a small room by the palace gardens. The servants brought us coffee and we had time to talk. بيتكلم بقى عن برنس فلافيا. You have been king for a few weeks now, said Princess. Everyone says you have done a very good job. I'm very pleased for you. You know, someone once said to me, بقول لها كده تعرفي واحد مرة قال لي, a person who has a position in society has responsibilities. Recently, I have realized how true this. يعني هو يقصد نوروز يعني. أنا لسه الوقت كده أدركت أو فهمت الجملة دي. Haven't you always thought that? أنت ما كنتش عارف إن أنت يبقى عندك مسؤوليات؟ asked the prince. طبعا برنس فلافيا بتكلموا عن ان هو رودولف الفبرج. No, when I was younger I didn't think. وانا صغير كده ما كنتش بفكر في النقطة دي. I didn't think I needed to worry about society. I thought that was someone else's job. يعني القلق على السوسايتي ده يبقى يعني عند واحد تاني مش عندنا. The prince looked very surprised, but you always knew that you would become king. How could you think that was someone else's job? يعني انت عارف من صغرك ان انت تبقى ملك. ازاي كنت بتحسب ان ده وظيفة واحد تاني؟ طبعا دي الصورة بتاعت البول. This is رودولف رسندل and Prince Flavia. يبقى هنا المفروض رودولف سندل ميد ميستيك، عمل خطأ. طب كل مرة بيعمل خطأ بيعمل ايه؟ try to cover it up، بيحاول يغطيه. طب هنا بقى يعمل ايه بقى؟ once again I had made a mistake in what I said, but suddenly instead of saying something to cover up my mistake I wanted to tell the princess the truth. قلت بقى هقول لها الحقيقة. She was kind and clever and she was going to marry the king. She should know what had happened to her future husband and she should know all about my game. I decided I had to tell her everything. Flavia, I said quietly, so no one of the other guests could hear. There is something you should know. I am not really analyst. هيكمل بقى ما كملش. But I never finished the words I wanted to say because that moment we heard the footsteps in the garden outside the room. I looked up and jumped with fright because a face suddenly appeared at the French window. في كده وجه ظهر. I relaxed when I saw that the person looked in on us was Sabt. اللي بص علينا كان سابت يعني. I apologize but there is someone who wants to see you sir. يعني بقول انا اسف في واحد عاوزك يعني. كأن سابت كان بيسمعهم واتدخل في الوقت المناسب يعني. He said to me but I could tell from his eyes that he was angry. How long had he been listening to my conversation with the princess? Had he heard that I was about to tell her the truth about who I really was? We returned to the ball where the princess went quickly away with her servants and I was welcomed by other important people at the ball. I realized that my game had gone too far. لعبتي بقت بعيدة جدا to go back، ان انا اقدر ارجع فيها. I couldn't tell anyone who I really was. ما اقدرش اقول لواحد انا مين، مش هيصدقني. Or they would think I was mad. Sabt had stopped me from saying too much to the princess and Sabt's plan really was working. Let's take some questions. What was the latest report from the chief of the police about Michael? ايه احدث تقرير رجال الشرطة عن ديوك مايكل؟ The report said that the Duke of Streltsau left the capital by the road to Zenda. An hour later, he was followed by the gouted prisoner Richard, who had a bandage. How did Rosendal know that his shot was a good one? عرف كده ان التصويبة بتاعته كانت تصويبة مؤثرة يعني. Richard was shot by Rosendal at his arm as he had a bandage around his arm. What did the report say about the king and the princess? التقرير ايه عن الاتنين دول؟ كأنه تقرير كده يعني الحالة المزاجية للشعب يعني. The people weren't happy that the king had yet to marry the prince, and if he didn't marry her, it would be better if the prince married the duke. However, the king was having a ball that night for the prince. Britannia was more important to Sabt than feelings. يعني البلد أهم من المشاعر. Discuss. ناقش. Sabt told Rosendal that he had to ask to marry the prince. But Rosendal said that it wasn't fair to the prince as he wasn't the real king. What was the ball like? يعني كيف كان حال الحفل الراقص ده؟ It was a great success. Rosendal sat with the princes in a small room by the palace garden. The servants brought them coffee and they had time to talk. What was the prince's opinion after a few weeks of the coronation? رأي الملكة. The princess was very pleased for him as everyone said that he had a very good job. When did Rosendal know that Rose's words were true? When Rosendal pretended to be the king, he realized that position in society had responsibilities, as Rose said before. What mistake did Rosendal make when he was talking to the prince in the ball? ايه الخطأ اللي هو ارتكبه يعني؟ He told her that when he was younger, عندما كان صغير, he didn't think he needed to worry about society. He thought it would be someone else's job. Why did Rosendal realize that he made a mistake? Because the princess looked very surprised at his strange philosophy. about life and told him that he always knew that he would become a king. So the princess asked him how he could think it was someone else's job. Why did Rosendal want to tell the princess the truth؟ يعني قرر يقول الحق ليه؟ Because she should know what had happened to her future husband. What prevented Rosendal from telling the truth؟ إيه اللي منعه؟ He heard the footsteps in the garden outside the room. He looked up and jumped with fright because the face suddenly appeared at the French window. طبعا اللي هو ثابت يعني. ثابت was always at Rosendal's side to stop him from making mistakes. كان دايما كده جنبه عشان يمنعه من ارتكاب الأخطاء. Discuss. ثابت appeared suddenly and stopped Rosendal from telling the truth to the prince. ثابت was very angry with Rosendal as he wanted to tell the princess the truth. When did Rosendal realize that his game had gone too far to go back؟ صعب إنه يرجع في اللعبة دي. When he was welcomed by other important people at the ball, he realized that he couldn't tell anyone who he really was, or they would think he was mad. Sabt's plan was working. Rosendal was a good faithful man. كان رجل مخلص. Illustrate. Although he could arrange for the duke and the real king. الجزء ده هيجي لنا دلوقتي في القراءة ده دلوقتي. ناخد الأول المعلومة بعدين نرجع للسؤال تاني. The next morning Sabt and I sat in my room thinking about what to do next. Do you realize, I said. بقول تعرف يعني. Everyone really thinks I'm the king, even the princes. I could even arrange. أنا ممكن أرتب for the duke and the real king to be killed. أرتب كده أقتل الاتنين دول. This is all true, said Sabt. So will you do such a thing؟ يعني هتعمل حاجة دي؟ Of course not. I shouldn't be here pretending to be anything. It isn't fair for the people of Britannia. بيبين بقى إن هو a man of principles. And it isn't fair for the princes either. We can't wait any longer, I said. We must go to Zenda and rescue the king. You are a good man, said Sabt. First, however, I needed to see Prince Flavia again. أنا عاوز أشوف Prince Flavia تاني يعني. If I couldn't tell her the truth, I could at least warn her that the situation in Britannia was not as good as she believed it to be. I visited her in her palace. زارها بقى تاني مرة that day, and she asked her servants to bring me some coffee. Then she told me that she had received 2 letters. قالت أنا برنس فلافيا قالت له أنا استلمت خطابين، يعني كأن الفصل النهارده فيه 3 letters 3 خطابات. خطابين دي تبع برنس فلافيا. One was from Michael, invitation letter. One was from Michael, who had invited her to visit Zenda. Then she showed me the other letter. I don't understand who this is one from, she said. الخطاب الثاني. I immediately knew who it was from. أول ما فتحوا راسندل عرف منين؟ من الكتابة يعني. The writing was the same as the letter I had received. It was from Antonio de Mauban and it read مكتوب فيه You don't know me, but I don't want you to fall into the power of Duke. Don't accept an invitation from him and don't go anywhere without many guards. Show this letter if you can to the leader of the Britannia. Why does it say the leader؟ يعني ليه قالت الليدر القائد ما قالتش كده الملك يعني and not the king؟ she asked. طبعا رودولفو مش هيعقب يعني مش هيقول على السؤال ده. You must do as the letter says. I said, not answering the question. I'll order guards to watch you. هأمر كده الحراس كده يعني يراقبوك يعني. Do you know who sent this letter? she asked. A friend of mine. صديق لي. Today you must say you will ill. قول ان انت تعبانه so you can't go to Zenda. ما تقبلش دعوه ديوك مايكل. طبعا ديوك مايكل عاوز يدعوها كده to trap her ان هو ياخدها بقى يحتجزها يعني. As a hostage كأنها رهينه يعني. So you don't mind making Michael angry? She asked. I don't mind anything if you are safe. I had an idea about who would be the best guard for Prince Flavia. قلت بقى جاء في دماغي بقى مين يكون افضل واحد يعني. And I immediately visited Marshal Strankich, who I knew I would trust. I asked him to guard Prince Flavia and not to allow any of the Duke's men to visit her. يعني هيخلي كده مارشال سترانكيتش هو الحارس على برنس فلافيا. I told him I was worried about the Duke's ambitions and he didn't look surprised. هنا بقى التعليمات اللي بيقولها رودولف راسندل لمين؟ لمارشال سترانكيتش. I'm leaving Streltsau for a few days. I told him. Every evening I'll send you a message. كل مساء هبعت لك رسالة. If you don't get a message for 3 days، لو ما وصلتش رسالة ليك ل3 أيام، you have the authority، يبقى لك الصلاحية أو لك السلطة يعني to say that you are now the head of Streltsau. You must then ask the duke to allow you to see the king. تطلب من ديوك مايكل تشوف الملك. If he doesn't allow you، لو لم يسمح لك to see the king in 24 hours، you must say that the king is dead، تعلن وفاة الملك. Then you must tell the people of Ruritania، تقول بقى روتينيا بقى who the new ruler will be، مين بقى الملك الجديد أو أو الملكة. You do know who that ruler؟ البرنس Flavia of course he answered. Right? This is the end of chapter 5. Let's go to the questions. آخر حاجة في الأسئلة. Rasindal was a good faithful illustrate. نقول السؤال الثاني. Although he could arrange for the duke and the real king to be killed، he decided to go to Zenda to rescue the king. Why did Rasindal decide to rescue the king؟ قرنوا الملك يعني Rasindal saw that it wasn't fair for the people of Ruritania and it wasn't fair for the princes either to continue pretending to be the king. How did Sabt praise يعني يثني على يمدح Rasindal when he decided to rescue the real king, and why? Sabt told him that he was a good man as Rasindal had the chance to be the king. كان عنده الفرصة يعني to be the king forever if he killed the king and the duke, but instead بدل من ذلك he wanted to rescue the king. Why did Rasindal want to see Prince Flavia again؟ عاوز يشوفها مرة تانية ليه؟ To warn her عشان يحذرها that the situation in Ruritania was not as good as she believed it to be. Who did the princess receive the 2 letters from؟ هي تلقت خطابين من مين؟ One letter was from Michael who had invited her to visit Zenda، بنسميه كده invitation letter، خطاب دعوة يعني، خطاب دعوة. The second letter was from Antoinette de Mauban asking the princess not to accept an invitation from Michael and not to go anywhere without many guards. Why did Antoinette ask the princess to show the letter to the leader of Ruritania? Antoinette knew that the Rasindal would know her handwriting and would trust her, so Rasindal asked the princess that she had to go or she had to do as the letter said. Antoinette was helpful for Rasindal and the princess. كانت يعني متعاونة مع الاثنين. اشرح explain. Antoinette revealed يعني reveal يعني يفشي يكشف السر. Antoinette's plan to Rasindal and saved him in time. She warned the princess from meeting the duke in order to kidnap her. What was Rasindal's plan to save Princess Flavia from Michael's plan؟ خطته ايه بقى؟ He would order the guards to watch her. He asked her not to go to Zenda and to Zenda saying that she was ill. Who did Rasindal trust to guard the princess؟ يعني وثق في مين؟ Rasindal trusted Marshal Strankich to guard the princess Flavia. What orders did Marshal give؟ what orders did Rasindal مكان مارشال دي Rasindal give to Marshal يعني الأوامر إيه؟ Rasindal asked Marshal Strankich to guard the princess and not to allow any of Duke's men to visit her، ما يسمحش لها حد منهم بالزيارة يعني، as Rasindal was worried about the Duke's ambitions. Why would Rasindal send the Marshal a message every evening؟ يبعت له رسالة كل يعني مساء ليه؟ To make the Marshal sure he was still alive، يتأكد له إن هو لسه ما زال على قيد الحياة. How did Rasindal plan the future of Ruritania if he failed to rescue the king؟ يعني بيخطط ازاي لمستقبل روتينيا لو هو فشل في انقاذ الملك، لو هو مات يعني منها تكون الملكة. The Marshal would have the authority to say that he was the head of Streltsau. If the Duke didn't allow the Marshal to see the king in 24 hours, the Marshal would say that the king was dead. The Marshal had to tell the people that Prince Flavia would be the ruler of Ruritania، هتبقى هي ملكة Ruritania. This is the end. I hope that you have benefited from explaining this lesson, and next time inshallah I'll tell you what to do.
اتمنى يكون الفيديو واضح صوت وصورة يعني. طبعا ما ينفعش ان احنا نصور بكاميرا بالليل او بالنهار كده من السبورة، لان السبورة عشان تبان كويس لازم تبقى في مكان معتم. فالطريقة الوحيدة ان احنا نسجل الحاجات اللي بنعملها على السبورة وبعدين نسجل في البداية والنهاية كده. في النهاية كده if you don't like the video no problem, click like and subscribe. See you later إن شاء الله.